Hi, this is Scott Garibay. In my humble opinion, there's a way that we can stop playing Dungeons & Dragons and start using Dungeons & Dragons to make ourselves better human beings. That is the POHEC. It is the path of optimum human exploration by class. Today we discuss the Warlock. Okay? The Warlock is one of the casting classes, one of the prime casting classes, centered around the arcane. There is the Wizard, there is the Sorcerer, and there is the Warlock, okay? The Wizard finds their power in dusty old tomes, okay? The Sorcerer finds their power in their blood themselves. The power of their magic comes from within. The Warlock is fundamentally different. The Warlock gives us, as IRL people, the ability to explore an incredibly interesting aspect of our humanity. What is that aspect of our humanity that the Warlock allows us to explore? It is bargaining, making bargains, gaining power by making promises. All right. So let's look at the Warlock. Okay, so the Warlock is a distinct distinct class option for Dungeons & Dragons players. It is actually the most, I think it's the most popular class played in Dungeons & Dragons today, which is really quite fascinating. So Warlocks have incredibly intense power. Frankly, they have more power than a traditional wizard has or a traditional sorcerer has, right? They're given this arcane power, this ability to break and reshape reality. But where do they get it? They get it currently from one of three sources. They make a promise to the Fae, and they are bound by that promise. They are bound by promise, right? And then to the Fae, or they make a deal with literally the fiendish hellscape itself, right? They actually go to the nether regions, the dark forces, and make promises, all the way up to promising their very soul, right, for power today. Or they promise to the stars themselves, the constellations, the universe itself, and say, I promise this. I forsake this thing of ownership for myself. This valuable, incredibly important thing, I give it. And what I get in return is power. Power to do arcane reality shaping, right? And they get it. Like, that's the Warlock pact, right? They make a pact. They promise and they receive, right? We as human beings, as Dungeons & Dragons players, we enter into the narrative canvas, the D&D campaign that our Dungeon Master has set for us with the Warlock. We are now bound by the bargain we have made, right? And bargaining becomes less of an abstract and far more of a direct problem that we must find a solution to. Can we escape the promise, right? Right there, that question goes to our humanity. When we make a promise, does our word matter? Are we trying from day one to shaft the people that we have promised things to? Is our word nothing, or is it everything, right? Do we say, okay, I have promised my soul itself. All I have is this life, because all the rest will be terrible, right? So I'm going to squeeze every single piece of juice out of this life, right? And when we look at what happens from these bargains that our Warlock makes, right? It lets us know in IRL, when I make a promise, what does that mean? Does it mean I dedicate myself from day one to breaking the promise and never delivering what I promised? Or does it say, I have made this promise, I am bound by it. My word means everything. I am a creature of truth, right? And I will use what I have gained from this bargain. I will make the best of it, and I will honor what I have said, right? Or do you dedicate yourself to defiance and untruth and lies? The Warlock makes us ask these questions as humans and saying, what does my word mean as a human being? I know what's happening with this Warlock, right? I see the power they've gained. I'm not sure if the deal was worth it, right? And then as players, We are saying, what bargains have I already made? What bargains are in front of me? Who stands as a patron for me in IRL? What are they offering? What do I need to give? What is fundamental to myself? Is a soul a laughable thing that can be given away? Or is it everything? This ephemeral thing can never be lost. The Warlock makes us hold a mirror to ourselves and look at what promises we made, what promises we can make, what promises we will make, right? And it makes us reimagine who we can be, right? And then ask the question, is that who I want to be? Is that worth the price that will be paid, right? The Warlock makes us look at this fundamental aspect of humanity, bargaining, which is fundamentally different than acquisition, which we already explored through the Rogue, right? Bargaining is different than acquisition, right? The Rogue can snatch a purse, right? There's no cost. It's the flick of a wrist, right? Possession goes from one to the other, but bargaining is not the same. We get incredible power, but we have given something away that we may never get back. Or will we get it back? More than any other class, right? There are incredibly fundamental class questions with the Warlock about our future. How do we shape our future? What are we willing to give to make our future different? Or we only allow fate to shape our future and our bargains remain at nothing? There are fundamental questions about our humanity in this. It is exciting. It is wonderful. It is a beautiful exploration of who we are as people, delving into ourself. Don't sleep on the Warlock, right? The Warlock has fundamental questions for you as a human being, right? And there is huge opportunity to change when you enter in and use the narrative canvas that your dungeon master is creating for you to have a fun time at the table, but far more importantly, right, to have, and maybe and the questions might be so deep there is no fun, right? Like sometimes you enter into a Dungeons and Dragons game and the questions hit you with so much impact that there might even be pain at the table, right? And this, you know, when you look around you and you see the deals that others have made, right, and you're like, I'm not going to do that, right? There may be no fun. There may be only pain at the table, especially with the Warlock, right? But this is a key aspect. Do not sleep on the Warlock. There is so much to learn here. That all of that is my humble opinion. What do you think? What do you think we can learn from the Warlock? How is bargaining different for us as humans than acquisition, right? And how do we use the Warlock to learn more than we learned with the Rogue? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.